High Tales of History is for mature audiences. It was a dark and stormy night. It was episode 119. The sisters were appropriately stoned and matching for some apparent reason and ready in front of their respective microphones to start their show, High Tales of History, a history podcast in which two sisters get high and surprise each other with a tale from the past. The elder sister pressed record and introduced the show and herself, saying, "I'm Laurel, the older sister."
And I'm Katie, the younger sister.
Laurel's co-host with vibrant hair and even more vibrant personality said, as she sat amongst her menagerie of animals. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, the storm raged outside, the torrential rain pounded against the windows. Welcome to High Tales of History. It is episode 119. Welcome back to the Smoke Circle. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for indulging me in that, Katie. I appreciate it.
I mean, first of all, I live for drama.
Welcome to the drama and the history. Katie, how are you doing? It's good to have you back in the Smoke Circle as well, too. It's good for me to be back. Everyone back. Hey.
Happy to be back.
I am what this show is about right now.
Yep. She sure is.
What have you dug from your garden today?
I grabbed some blood orange and followed it up with a pomegranate. It's like an energy focus thing, so we're gonna see how well this works. So if I get like a bust of energy for some reason, just a little burst, like wee, we'll know why.
Hell yeah.
And yourself?
And myself. I didn't even have a whole half because I had so much fun with this on our last episode. I'm like, I'm getting the bubbles back again. Champagne. Yeah. So cheers. Cheers, everybody. So it's also like my story tonight. So I also want to be able to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Hey, Katie, the year is 1881.
Okay.
Put yourself back there. Physician and veteran is returning home to London after serving in the Second Anglo-Afghan War.
Oh.
He's looking to start his life up again, and also he needs a roof over his head. So while he's out and about looking for a place to live, he sees an old friend, tells him, "Hey, I'm actually on the search for lodging, back from the war. How you been?" And this other guy's like, "You're the second guy today who has said the same sort of thing. The first guy was like, I found a really great flat, but I don't have anybody to rent it with." And our doctor veteran, he's like, "Well, this sounds fortuitous. Lead the way." Our friend here that we found out on the street as we're walking around, his name's Stanford, by the way. Stanford goes, he's working up at the chemical laboratory at the hospital, but I don't know how much you want to live with this guy. He's really smart in a lot of eccentric things, has a lot of his own little idiosyncrasies. But our doctor's like, I want to decide for myself. So Stanford takes him up to the chemical laboratory at the hospital. And there, I like to think of it as like a mad scientist sort of moment. They find a man surrounded by Bunsen burners, test tubes and shit. They've walked in after he's had like this eureka moment. And he's like, yeah, he's over the damn moon because he found a way to test stains to see if they are mud or blood or paint, to be able to definitively prove a stain is blood and then therefore be used in the forensic processes and cases and stuff. And he's going on about the test. He's like, this is amazing. This is how it works. And hemoglobin is a thing. And Stanford is like kind of looking over at the doctor like, it's like, here he is. This is our guy. And then the guy who's like, in the laboratory, he comes over and he's like, how are you? You've been in Afghanistan, I perceive. And our doctor friend's like,
Sherlock Holmes tale? Because it feels like it.
And our doctor is stunned because he's like, how does this guy know that I was just in Afghanistan? He doesn't know me. And our mutual friend Stanford smiles and says, Dr. Watson, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. So yes, Katie, you are right.
As soon as you said 1881 Anglo-Afghan War, I was like, Dr. Watson.
Okay, good. Yeah,
yeah.
I was going to say, if somebody knows their Sherlock Holmes, they'll be like,
it's me.
yeah. kind of sure I know what you're already talking about. Sherlock Holmes and the history of the mystery, essentially.
Okay.
So, suspenders up.
I was sitting there and I was like, I don't want to be rude, but like, I definitely know what's going on right now.
I appreciate you indulging me and letting me get through that. Thank you.
It's more fun that way. But yes, as soon as you said that, and then that said came home and looking for a flat, I was like, still more Sherlock Holmes. I was like, honestly, at this point, it's probably Sherlock Holmes. I have watched every piece of media, listened to every old-time radio story, read most, if not all, the literary works. Like, I have had so much Sherlock Holmes in my life. It's probably unhealthy, but, true crime
Katie.
and all that.
Katie, I didn't know that about you.
Really?
Honest. Yeah, I didn't know that about you. And I'm really glad that I picked this topic now. But at the same time, you probably will be like, I could have done this instead,
I mean, that's a bit rude. I don't think I would think that.
She's like, I already know all this. I already know all this stuff. No, I didn't know that about you. I kind of feel bad that I didn't, but I'm glad that I.
Oh yeah, I own the complete
topic.
Sherlock Holmes works in like a giant, yeah.
I got one too.
Do you? Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the gold pages.
Yours is fancier. Mine doesn't look that nice.
Sherlock Holmes is widely considered the archetype of the modern detective. But, Katie, as you nod your head, he wasn't the first fictional detective. That goes to Edgar Allan Poe's C. Auguste Dupin. Ooh, I sweat a little bit. In The Murders at the Rue Morgue. This short story also was the first locked door mystery. You know, one of those? Like, they were killed, but the door was locked from the inside. How did it happen? So we have our first detective, like brilliant detective, and the first locked door mystery. Ooh. In fact, let's further give credit where credit is due. Dupin was the prototype of the genius detective with the incredible ability to observe and infer, who also had a narrator sidekick. Dupin was Poe's brilliant detective in 3 short stories between 1841 and 1844. Even between the time of Poe's Dupin and Conan Doyle's Holmes was yet another French detective that fits this mold, that being Émile Gabriel, his detective, that author's detective, Monsieur Lecoq.
I think you killed it.
It's like cutting the blue or the red wire. I don't know. Monsieur Lecoq was in 5 novels and 1 short story between 1866 and 1876. So those 2 fictitious detectives give Sherlock Holmes his skeleton, maybe his musculoskeletal system. We might go that far for sure. But it is a third real-life person that really fleshes out the rest of the great Sherlock Holmes. Now, in order to know Holmes, we need to know about his creator, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. To Scotland. Do-do-do-do-do. Arthur Conan Doyle. This is pre-Sir. So he's just Arthur Conan Doyle at this point. He's born May 22nd, 1859 in Edinburgh, Scotland. Scotland, you can't even be mad that I did a bad accent because at least this Yank said Edinburgh right. He's born there to a family of artists and storytellers. What fucking luck.
Should any of us ever be so lucky?
He's born into it. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. No, he was born with it, this lucky duck. His grandpa was John Doyle. He went by HB. He was a political cartoonist and a satirist. His uncle Richard was an illustrator and diarist, someone who writes a diary, right? And before I was like,
so is every teenage girl who ever wrote stuff.
I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, diarist is not a thing. And I was like, this is dumb. This is some 19th century nonsense thing. And then I went on Google.
Yeah.
And it's like someone who is famous for their thoughts written in a diary. And they're like, for example, Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
And I'm like,
yep. Fuck. I know. As soon as you said that, I was like, well, Anne Frank, dude. Well, I was gonna say, like, a lot of those, like, that Australian expedition you talked about, that was
Mm-hmm.
all written down in a diary.
Yeah.
I
That's
suppose it depends on the diary, whether it
right.
passes muster or not. It has
Is
to
this a
be
primary source or is this
right,
something that people want to read the whole entirety out of?
right.
Of.
Is it an interesting diary or is it a boring diary?
Right. This is what we need to know. That's what separates a diarist from a person who just keeps a journal.
And I imagine having historical accuracy to back that diary up probably helps as well.
His dad, Charles, was also an illustrator who helped with the design of the fountains at Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh. Ooh, lasting legacy there in the city, right? His mother is a born storyteller. She's just great at weaving a tale. Little Conan Doyle, or little Arthur Conan Doyle would like to sit and listen to his mom tell stories. And she really encouraged her son's love of reading and storytelling. And he was such an avid reader and rapid reader too that his according to his autobiography in 1924, Memories and Adventures, Doyle said that the local library had to tell his mom, like, we're only going to change these books out 2 times a day. Like, no more change. I'm like, I don't know if he's that fast of a reader, right? Like, how big are these books that he's getting through like multiple
I was
books in a
gonna
day?
say, if it's a smaller, easier book, like,
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
the kid
That'd be
at
a
the
start, yes.
library, I would go through the sections and pick up what I wanted to look at. I'm talking a stack, like,
Mm-hmm.
as high as my computer screen, and I would mow through all of that in, like, an hour. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it, I mean, granted, it was animal facts, so I just, like, cycled that stuff in like there was going out of style. It depends on the book, but you can really mow through them.
That's true. That is true.
This is this is your job at this point, is learning. As a kid, your job is learning, so there you go.
Yeah. And learn he did really. He had he would get well, he would mow through these books as well too, and every genre and various authors and topics and things like that. And he just cycled through all of it. Good job, kid. As a young adult, Arthur enrolled as a medical student at the illustrious University of Edinburgh. How many times am I going to be able to get it in? In which he was taught by Dr. Joseph Bell. Dr. Bell, folks, he's tall, he's dramatic, he's got a flair for showmanship. His students, this was like his thing. He would like dazzle his students with his amazing ability to observe and just deduce things about his patients. He could diagnose diseases, he could diagnose some diseases before patients had time to say anything. He could also tell your occupation, your nationality, all kinds of different stuff based on your mannerisms and whatever he observes and deduces about you. Oh, doesn't that sound like a fictional character we know? Observational skills. So after graduation, Conan Doyle served for a time as Dr. Bell's clerk at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh, where he saw these skills pretty much then every day with patients, and it like really cemented that in. He's like, this guy's amazing. Now, Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle spent some time on different seas, like a whaling ship and then another ship that went up to the Arctic. And I was like, that's too many scary ships. Like Arctic ship and whaling ship were like two, no thanks. I'm good. Can I go be a doctor on land? No, 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 no. But he did it. He was a ship doctor and surgeon for a little while. Then he came back and established himself as a family doctor. He got married. Um, but being a doctor in South Sea, which is where he lived, it it wasn't particularly lucrative. And he's like, I don't want to just make ends meet. I want to be able to have some sort of financial stability and cushion. His dad, unfortunately, was an alcoholic. And so he grew up watching his mom really keep control of the family finances and good money management and good money sense are things that he learned from her. So he's like, it's great that I can make ends meet, but I also need to make sure that like we're taken care of. Good thinking, Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle. And in this time, he taps back into that creativity and storytelling that runs through his veins. It's in his blood. And we love a side hustle king. So we are millennials. We understand a side hustle king here. Conan Doyle, he'd already been drafting together a character based on these great detectives from his boyhood, right? It's Dupin, Monsieur Lecoq. And then from there, he basically said, woo, he basically said, okay, what if I take my mentor, Dr. Belvroop, and I just dress Dupin up in as Dr. Bell. Basically, what if Dr. Bell went into detective work? Now, Doyle says the name was originally Sherringford Holmes. Really glad he changed it, to be honest. Sherringford. Sherringford Holmes.
It
That's a
definitely
mouthful.
Sherlock obviously flows better. I mean, here we are 2 centuries later and we're all over it still. But, well, I mean, really, like, Sherlock
Uh-huh.
Holmes is fun, like, the writing is masterful. When they say, like, natural storyteller, like, you either got it or you don't, champ.
Yeah.
And, muscles, he's got it. But I actually didn't know any of that about I've never known his history. I know
Mm-hmm.
Sherlock Holmes, like, I know that stuff inside out, but I've never known anything about, um, Doyle. So,
Okay.
interesting. This is actually something I've always wanted to look into, so you actually have done well with this topic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. He's an interesting person. He has like different phases to his life for sure. I'm
That
gonna get
doesn't
into
surprise me, just in how,
yeah.
like, well-versed his writing is, and how much depth is to that character of Sherlock Holmes. Oh my god, like,
Mhm.
somebody had to live a lifetime to write somebody like that, you know?
Yeah, he's an interesting person. He's somebody I'm gonna be talking about again, probably closer to Halloween, and I'll kinda yeah, I know. We'll talk about it at the end a little bit. So stay to the end, everybody. That's my call to action. That's what I do. All right. So thankfully he changed it from Herringford Holmes, which is a mouthful, and I struggled to get it out, to Sherlock Holmes. But he didn't want Holmes to tell his own story, so he brings in um, the narrator, essentially. This is the character who is an everyman. He's an educated man of action who could also join in the exploits and narrate them. And he decided on Watson because that's a very unassuming and normal name. He's like, I need a normal
Watson?
guy, a normal guy to be the sidekick of the super brilliant Sherlock Holmes. And that's actually a really great thing that Conan Doyle does, because while his two detective heroes, Lecoq and Dupin, the French detectives, had sidekick narrator characters also, they were so unremarkable that they just were basically background characters or like an indirect narrator. And you're like, oh, like this isn't even a central person at all. But Watson, though, girl, he has a name first and foremost, but he also has his own backstory and life, a life outside of Holmes. He's not there purely to be the foil or some sort of clown to Sherlock Holmes to highlight
He's
his
not a
brilliance. He
side
is his own.
piece.
Right.
He
Yeah.
is
He's
not a
his own
side
cool guy.
piece. He is his
Yeah.
own main character.
He is his
He
own main character. And yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and I think that that is important. He ain't no side piece.
Right. Yes. So he helps, point to the brilliance of Sherlock Holmes as a character and is a helper to him. He's also a better shot. So you want to have Watson on
By a
your team.
lot.
Yeah.
Sherlock can't shoot for shit, and they say that a lot. He's like a disaster, and you're like, "Oh, good,
Yeah.
at least he's infallible somehow."
Right.
Because he's kind of a pompous prat,
He
like,
is. He
yeah,
really is, Katie. Yeah. Um,
insufferable.
insufferable. And because of that, he doesn't have a lot of friends. Watson is his only friend, really, because everybody else is so turned off of him, because
Right.
he's kind of unlikable.
Yeah.
So 1886, he wrote A Study in Scarlet, in which Sherlock Holmes and
Get
Watson
in.
were introduced, which is what I kind of paraphrased at the top of our episode.
Yeah.
Was that meeting. And Conan Doyle, he writes this. He goes, I feel pretty good about what I did. I feel pretty confident. I really thought this through. I have a really great mystery here. Submit. But when rejection, right? Rejection, more rejection kept pouring in. And at that point, even if you feel good about what you turned in, it's still pretty discouraging after a while.
Yeah, naturally.
But, but good news. It finally finds a home at publishers Ward, Lock and Company in their Beaton's Christmas Annual, their
Yep.
magazine. But even then, it's not without a little bit of a backhanded compliment. They were basically like, hey, sir, we read your thing. Cool. It's great. We love it. However, we could not publish it this year, 1886, as the market is flooded at present with cheap fiction. We got too much cheap fiction out there. But hey, if you don't mind, ouch, holding over until next year, we'll give you £25 for the copyright. All right. They did indeed publish it in 1887. And it was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was really lukewarm, but it did give Doyle a few coins to keep afloat and keep adding to that financial security. And also still encouraged him to write another Sherlock Holmes novel, A Sign of Four.
Don't get
Also, yeah, fine.
Sorry,
In terms of its reception, like the work itself is good, but like in terms of what the public were like, I don't know this, and it's fine. Some people are like, it's good. So if this isn't a lesson to persevere when,
because his writing is good. I think
yeah,
just based upon this review that you're giving it, just so everybody knows, like the work is really good. His writing is like very intellectual and like super there. Like he's one of the authors I actually really enjoy reading. And there's a couple authors that this is going to sound like the nerdiest nitpick to have ever. Sometimes I don't like the way people write. I don't like the way you organize thoughts and put them down on a page. I don't like it. The Game of Thrones writer, I cannot stand the way he writes. His story is interesting, and I liked the film enough, obviously, but the film is not like how he writes, and I cannot stand his author's voice. Like it just, I don't know. It's always irked me. Fight me, George. I'm like, yeah, chair.
And that's, well, that's everyone's prerogative, right? Is to, depending on how you take in art and what you like and don't like. And that's,
probably not neurodivergent enough for me, I'm guessing. But seriously, this guy's writing, it's really good. And like, there's times even where I have a hard time with Poe. He's like more ADD than I am. And he's like off in another land on another thing. And I read Tolkien, who, by the way, takes like 20 pages to describe a single room, and the print is small. So it's not that I'm a lazy reader by any means. But yeah, man, if you, and sometimes like now in my old age, the exposition in writing doesn't frustrate me like it used to.
Right.
Exposition used to be like hard for me, and I was like, just get to the fucking action, like just do the exciting stuff, like stop telling me about shit I don't give a but now it's one of those things, it's like I think it's because now for you and I, because we're so busy as adults, like reading is a luxury now. It's not something we have to do, it's something we get to do and choose to do, I think, between the two of us.
Yeah.
So like when you get that opportunity, you're just like, oh, I am in luxury with every word.
Sit with all of it,
All of it.
You're exactly right, because the reception does not reflect the quality of the writing, for sure.
Definitely not.
So he's not to be deterred. And what do we do when something's not working? Do we give up, Katie?
No.
Do we give up, Smoke Circle? No. We pivot to the left or the right, a little juke, and then we keep on going.
Yeah.
So Conan Doyle, in his pivot, he closes his practice in Southsea, moved to London, got himself a literary agent. There were a number of monthly magazines that came out which featured short stories, notable amongst which was The Strand. And he had noticed that they were really popular in general, but the most popular ones had a single character over the course of several episodes. And he's like, right, we got to take Sherlock Holmes and put him into short form content and submit him to these monthly magazines. Write him in installments, right? Each case, or, part 1 or part 2 of a case. And when he did this, Sherlock Holmes fucking exploded. Come, Watson, come. The game is afoot. It's the mid-roll. It's the mid-roll is afoot. And Katie and I are so happy to have you here in our very own smoke circle in the cozy sitting room of 221B Baker Street. We have been having a fantastic time learning about the great Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and the birth of the brilliant detective archetype and the mystery novel genre. And if you've been enjoying learning along with us, please make sure that you subscribe or follow on whatever platform you are listening or watching from so you don't miss out on any more episodes. And we also have quite a backlog of 118 more episodes if you're new here. And if you've been with us for a little while and you like what we're doing, please make sure that you rate and review the show, leave a comment, share the episode with a friend, or any of our episodes that are your favorite. These are all easy and free ways that are a huge support for our little show, and we massively appreciate every little bit of support. If you really, really like what we're doing, consider becoming a member of the Best Buds Club. That's our Patreon. Over there, we have our historical movie nights, we have our half-baked mini episodes, and some extra content for you. So that's over on patreon.com/High Tales of History. And you can join as a Best Bud and get some extra content for the price of like a fancy coffee a month. Our Patreon and all of our social media are linked directly in the show notes below. Speaking of the great mystery novel genre, I left us on a bit of a cliffhanger. So let's get back to the episode and find out what happens after the explosion of Holmes mania and puff puff pass it on to part 2. Wow. Like a pop culture kaboom bomb dropped in the late Victorian era. There we go. It's like in 1880.
That surprised me when I got that whole works, because it takes all of Arthur Conan Doyle's works and like puts them, or I think it's actually complete Sherlock Holmes, so it's not all of his works. But I think that was an option. I don't think I went with that one. It's amazing how many short stories there are. You're like, oh, like, because there's like movies and like television series off of this and stuff like that. And you're like, huh,
Yeah.
what? It's wild.
And that happened in 1891. Boom. Holmes mania. There it is. Wow. Each episode of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson's adventures were just eaten up by the readers of the Strand. They just lick the fingers of how good it was. I don't know. They were transported to the cozy little room of Watson and Holmes. You know, a couple worn armchairs by a crackling fire, gas lamps, Baker Street, busy outside, fog because it's London. You know, we're all sitting there. Sherlock, so the character himself, overall, as we said earlier, he's kind of unlikable. He's arrogant because he's so smart and like he knows he's smart. He's almost always right. I only say almost because I think there's like one story in which I think he's so overconfident and so sure about it that he kind of like over deduces.
Oh, yeah.
And then he has to like start over again, right? Do you know which one that is offhand? I should have written it down.
I'm
Like
guessing it's the one where he meets the fiance, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think that's the one.
Is that it? I thought that was the one. I can't remember what it's called.
I was going to just agree anyway. I'm like, yeah, I feel like that's it. I feel like that's the one.
Do you actually think that's it? Or?
I kind of do, actually.
Okay,
I was going to talk myself into it.
That's what I seem to remember it. And like, because there's a breakdown between him and Watson in that one. So, and he kind of has that whole like check yourself before you wreck yourself moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be the one that I recall.
Listen to Ice Cube. Like that's
what absolutely. But it's been, I don't think I've read or watched any Sherlock Holmes stuff since actually I moved into this house, which is really sad. But to my right, there are boxes filled with books that need to be unpacked. So maybe in the near future.
Yeah. He's tough. I mean, and he's so logical to the point where he comes across as cold, that he doesn't have any sort of empathy.
Right.
You know, because he's just, the logic is going to get us to the answer, and damn emotion. We're not going to keep any sort of emotion into that. Also, he's a drug addict.
I was wondering if you were going to mention the cocaine.
Yeah. So he's so bored with regular life that he's frequently turning to cocaine or morphine in order to just disassociate from the real world. he's a complex person, as people are. He's complex. Now, one could easily turn that like analysis around and be like, well, he's just really logical, and because of that, he takes the emotion out of his detective work so he could best solve the case. Okay. I've even seen some people argue that they're like, maybe Sherlock Holmes is a little bit on the spectrum with his attention to detail, dedication to logic, like difficulty with social studies and cues and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay. Either way, whatever it is, it's making him a great detective. He's very focused on the logic, and he's walking you as you're going through these cases and these different short stories. You're getting walked through that procedure and how he's thinking of it as well. It's fun. He's a hoot. People loved him. People loved him. And the Sherlock Holmes fandom, as I was researching this, I'm like, this really sounds like one of the first, like, quote unquote, modern fandoms of pop culture.
Dude, I agree with that.
And I looked it up, and I mean, that's really the case. This was like your first modern fandom.
Before K-pop fandoms, before any other fandom, dude, it was Sherlock Holmes. That does
before
not
the
surprise
Swifties.
Me. Yeah.
Before
Beatlemania.
Beatlemania. Yeah, I was like, oh no, what else? Yeah.
Oh, there's tons. Jonas Brothers. JB. Justin Bieber. J-Beebs.
Oh.
The Beliebers.
And Backstreet Boys. The Beliebers. Yeah. Yeah, girl.
Britney. I don't know what are the Britney fans called? Do we have a name? Oh, I'm sad.
Oh, no.
I'm so sad.
I was trying to think of something clever off the top of my head, and I couldn't.
I couldn't think of anything either. Dang. I wonder if there even is one. I'll research and I'll let you know.
Okay, Britney fandom. People are writing letters to 221B Baker Street, which is a real place.
I was going to say, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not the Sherlock Holmes Museum, but it's 221B Baker Street.
That's a good place for it.
Yeah.
You'll always find it.
People were writing letters, sometimes like as if Sherlock Holmes was a real person. They were like having a parasocial relationship with him for sure. Huge emotional investment. The media was massively involved. And you know what? We even get some of our first fanfic, or at least first known fanfic. Mm-hmm. Ooh. That comes in later, I'll tell you.
So it all begins.
But despite the huge popularity of his character and the short stories and how successful Sherlock Holmes was, Conan Doyle was like, right, I'm done with this guy. I want to have serious work that I do with historical fiction. Like, I want to be a serious historical fiction writer. I want to have more recognition as that than I want to have for Sherlock Holmes.
Quit writing such rad fucking material then.
I know. Suck at it then, sir. I don't know what to tell you, because people love it and they're not going to let you stop. Foreshadowing. Even as early as 1891, when that first the Strand issue came out, he was like, okay, good. Am I done now? Like, sir, this was your first big hit and you're already over it. I get it. I suppose there's like the, the actors that kind of get pigeonholed into certain roles, or they're known for only being a certain role for so long, like, okay, all right. He's like, this Sherlock Holmes is holding me back. He's over it. He's like, I know how to get him to go away. So we said, just suck at writing. He's like, no, I can't do that, but I'm going to make it more and more expensive to write, or for me to write for you. So he just keeps increasing his rates. Just to like deter
yeah, we'll
them.
Pay it.
Yeah, we'll pay that.
And
soon, it did nothing. They're like, sure, we'll do that. And he quickly became the highest paid writer of his time, just because he kept increasing his rate.
Dude,
you know what? Ask for that raise.
Yeah, I mean, you're worth it. Go
in Monday morning, ask for that raise. You deserve it. Be careful, but also we'd hire you.
Yeah.
You can come work at Hightails for History and get paid in crisp high fives.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And accolades.
Yes.
And hugs. All right. Between 1892 and 1893, Conan Doyle published 24 short stories in the Strand magazine. He couldn't take it anymore. He's like, I can't do it. Christmas, folks, 1893, he published The Final Problem.
Fall? Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, it's called The Final Problem, in which Holmes and his arch nemesis, Katie,
Moriarty.
Yes, Professor James Moriarty, they're engaging in combat, fighting on the side of a waterfall at Switzerland's Reichenbach Falls, where Sherlock Holmes lives, and falls to his death over the side of a waterfall.
Dun, dun, dun.
Folks, I want you to guess how well that went down with the public.
About as well as the part about Dobby. Sorry.
People were pissed. They were in an uproar. They're like, how dare you kill off Sherlock Holmes? You beast. You brute.
You brute.
They were writing hate mail.
Oh.
He got so much abuse. The editor of The Strand was like, he actually was the one that said, you brute. As his magazine, that was his cash cow. Like all that Sherlock Holmes, he's like, that's
pissed.
That's my thing. How dare you kill off Sherlock Holmes? 20,000 readers canceled their subscription to the magazine.
Get wrecked. It'd be like, you better write him back out or I'm firing your ass.
So many people were mad. In fact, it's stated, it is stated that Queen Victoria was not amused. You've pissed off the Queen, too. I know.
Sorry.
Just face like a bulldog.
I was going to say, I don't think she was amused much of the time, let alone now. But anyhow.
Just popping out babies and like passing them out. She's like, fucking hate this. All right. Anyway. That fan fiction I mentioned earlier, that was when the fan fiction started, because people were like, well, if you're not going to keep the character going, we're going to keep the story going, the characters alive, and we're going to make our own. Yeah. So their own fan fiction. People wore black mourning armbands. Like there was an upheaval.
We are in mourning.
We are so sad that Sherlock Holmes has been killed off. Damn you, Arthur Conan Doyle. Damn you, Moriarty, for pulling both over, and sucking. For getting in a fight on a waterfall in the first place. Damn it. Damn it, everybody.
Damn it all.
Damn it all to hell. And you know what? Arthur Conan Doyle gave 0 fucks.
I was going to say he didn't give a flying fadoodle about it, did he?
Mm-mm.
No.
Just 0. As 0 as you could get. Just
the most negative of fucks that you could give.
Yeah. He never regretted killing off Holmes. And he gave interviews that said that much. He's like, oh, no, I'm not sorry I did it. And everyone's like, wait, what do you mean you're not sorry? And he's like, no, I don't regret it for a single moment.
Come at me, bro.
It's like I fucking hate that asshole. And he stands by this for nearly a decade, despite, 9 years of pressure from the public and from his publishers. They're like, please come back. He's like, no. Mm-mm. Yeah.
It's really close because no.
How about no? It's during a golf outing with one of his buddies, which sounds like the most Scottish thing to do. Let's go play golf together.
Oh, I was going to say, that sounds like the most posh shit to do, but okay.
Posh and Scottish. Posh Scot. His buddy was telling him about this legend of a ferocious black dog that hunted the countryside.
No, yes.
Here's a little ghost story for you, Arthur. Let me tell you this tale of this black dog, killer black dog who hunted and roamed the countryside.
Do you think it was a hound?
He could have been. That's what Arthur was thinking. His imagination sprang forth and was like, oh man, that would be a cool story. Let's talk about this. So him and his buddy were just kind of like sketching out a story. And Arthur called it a real creeper. Those are quotes, folks. He said, this is a real creeper. It's a spooky one.
It is.
It's the spookiest.
I think that's what made it one of my favorites, is it felt really Scooby-Doo to me. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think that was actually the first Sherlock Holmes I've ever read was... Well, I'm not going to say. You can just listen.
Okay. You ready for it? It's happening in a moment. He was very careful to set the story as a prequel to the years prior to Sherlock's death. So he's like, let's take it back a few years so we don't have to explain Sherlock Holmes not being dead anymore.
There you go. Can just be
There you
another
go.
adventure.
Smart thinking. Sir Conan Arthur Doyle. No, he's not Sir yet. Arthur Conan Doyle.
Doctor.
Conan Doyle. Doyle. I've had to figure out which name I'm going to call him by. It's different every time. Smart move. He goes back to his editor at the Strand, and he uses the opportunity to increase his rates even more because he can.
Of course he did.
Get that bag, Doyle. Do it. Get it. Got it good. And so this is what he says to them. The price I quoted earlier has for years been my serial price, not only with you, but with other journals. It's like, this is always what I've charged. But since as far as I can judge, the revival of Holmes would attract a great deal of attention. Tease, little tease thrown in there. Suppose I gave the directors the alternative that it would be without Holmes at my prior figure, right? At my old figure, or with Holmes at £100 per thou. Which would they choose? ... ellipses.
They paid
Holmes
him.
is at a premium in America right now. He's like, and that's how you negotiate.
Yeah,
walks
for
away.
real. They paid it, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
So, yeah. They're like, fine. This is fine. So basically what he was saying, he's like, this is what I always used to charge. If I bring Sherlock Holmes back, if you want me to work at the old price, Holmes stays out of the story. Otherwise, if I bring him back, it's going to be this much money. Do what you think is best. I'm just saying, I hear America really loves Sherlock Holmes. So of course they did, Katie. They fucking bit. They bit that. And they started the promotion saying that the plot is one most interesting and striking that has ever been put before us. And it was, because it was Sherlock Holmes and Arthur Conan Doyle's magnum opus, The Hound of the Baskervilles.
I mean, that's it right there. That is the first Sherlock Holmes I ever read. And I was also 7, so I didn't understand it. I was like really young, and I found like an old one. Like the binding was falling off, but it was still like leathery, and it was still like sewed together. Oh, it was great, but like I didn't understand most of it. I mean, you're 7. Sherlock Holmes is a bit beyond a 7-year-old, for those wondering. You miss a lot because you're like, oh, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Or like when you're like, oh, 7% solution. I never remembered that. Like in my 20s, I found out. I was like, wait, he did cocaine? And everyone's like, yeah, did you read it? I was like, well, yeah, but when you read it that young, you don't pick that up.
Right.
So, but
cocaine is just,
Yeah, you're just like, I don't know what that is. Moves right on with the story. Like, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I read it young too, I think. Yeah, because that was my first Sherlock Holmes as well. But I remember reading it kind of young and being like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, okay. And,
right.
Okay, now I get
it's hard to
like
track when you're
up.
young like that. Yeah. Because we were used to reading at that point the Goosebumps.
Hell yeah. Sister.
Yeah. Fucking slap. Yeah. Of course, that's the horror we were reading.
The Haunted Mask Girl? What?
Oh, dude. The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. That haunted me, my nightmares as a kid. Because I remember I was like, remember how we had the dog kennel outside of our windows for a long time? Dude, that's like all I could think of was like, because remember the dog? Nothing bad happens to the dog, by the way, to everybody, but like he can sense like the werewolf and he's like always like barking. And I remember always like, I don't know. I just remember that always sketched me out.
Our youth, right? These are the things that our imagination does.
But that's the mystery, though, that we had was like that because they were horror, right? But those are really child friendly, as in like kids can like recycle the information really well or analyze it. Sherlock Holmes was a little bit beyond me at the time. I was like, huh? I remember I went back at like 21 and was like, wow, I missed half that story when I read it the first time.
Right? I know. That's the thing. I'm so excited for all this going on because I do want to actually like read it and do it, Katie, and know all of it. But
yeah, do that. It's really good.
So The Hound of the Baskervilles came out in 1902. And then Sherlock Holmes was fully resurrected and with a fat paycheck to boot in The Adventure of the Empty House. And Holmes just explains his absence like, I was only faking my death.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Obviously.
it's not like a grand return like you want it to be, and it's never explained. You're just like, nope, I'm back, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
just walks in the door, doot, 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 doot.
yeah, and you kind of like don't expect that because the writing is so brilliant and is so well thought out. You're like, surely he didn't just fucking like not
insert
tell me. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's exactly what he did. And I was like, well, that's some bull. You almost kind of, it's like very anticlimactic, I remember.
Okay.
The return. And you're like, okay. But I guess I'm just happy to have Sherlock Holmes back. Like, yay!
Oh, he's back. Arthur Conan Doyle would go on to write Sherlock Holmes until 1917 when he penned his last Holmes novel, The Last Holmes Hurrah, with The Last Bow. It's a good title, in which a retired Sherlock Holmes goes undercover on a spy mission against the Germans.
Yep.
Peep the year, 1917. What's going on in 1917? World War I. Shit's a mess. And that's the biggest understatement. So, like, he's, you know, like he was doing with his earlier works, he's reflecting on the period and the time around him as well. Talking also about going on with the period as well. Concurrent with this Holmes mania in like 1893 in its early days. And really, 1893 to today, let's be real. Sherlock Holmes has been popular. He's taken to the stage, the radio, the screen. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records as of 2012 as the most portrayed literary human. That's a good thing to note. Human character in film and TV history, with upwards of 300 or more. Right? These might be old numbers. Films and TV series. So
Tons. And then when one is done, the next one gets recycled. Like, that's just what, you know, after the BBC one, they did that one with Henry Cavill and the gal who plays 11. Her name escapes me right now.
Oh, yeah. Millie Bobby
Millie,
Brown.
yeah.
Millie Brown.
But yeah, her and Henry Cavill, they did like a kind of a change around. It was like Sherlock Holmes and I think like with a younger sister or with a sister or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's just, you know, I'm just using that as an example of where one ends, another begins, because Sherlock Holmes just doesn't get boring. And they just don't.
You can keep it going, and all different sort of iterations and new authors taking up the mantle. Conan Doyle himself had 4 novels and 56 short stories. So there's plenty of source material.
Yep.
And like I said, like other people have taken up writing Sherlock Holmes as a character, officially, unofficially sort of thing. But all in all, it keeps the flame of Sherlock Holmes stoked, dude. In fact, it's in these stage and screen adaptations of the character that we get some of the most iconic visuals and the sayings that we
sayings especially
associated, right, with the great detective. So the deerstalker hat, which is, you know, for anyone watching, I'll have a picture of it. You know, it's like it's got a little bill in the front and it's got a little bill in the back. Like, let's say this is your head here and you're looking this way.
Yep. It's got like a visor in the front, visor in the back kind of thing.
It's like a double mullet, you know?
Yeah.
Visor in the front, visor in the back.
Yeah.
You get the both. Not both the best world, both the best worlds. There you go.
Best of both worlds.
There we go. I was like, that didn't feel right.
I was like, damn, you butchered that. It's okay. You didn't grow up with it like I did.
I know. Get the best of both worlds, but like it's the same world is what I was going to say.
Sure.
After struggling with that.
I mean, you struggled to it though.
That's fine. We got there in the end. Between that hat and the curved pipe, you know, with the little pipe, again, iconic. I actually used to have like a weed pipe like that. It was like green.
Oh,
and
I
blue,
just have a
like
real one. I'm just actually a real man, Laurel. So,
well, you can't smoke weed out of one of those.
No, it wasn't for weed. I used to
but I'm just
like
saying,
a real man.
I'm just saying, like, it has to be a different sort of pipe anyway. Mine's got to be glass.
I get you. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Anyway. I do have a real one, though, for anybody interested. If you grow up with Sherlock Holmes and Tolkien as, like, your heroes as a kid, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting a pipe. But obviously. I went to, like, a local artisan and got it. Remember, I got it at the Ren Fair, and they hand carve all theirs. So there you go. Patronize local business, everybody.
Yes.
We're classy.
Amen. So between the deerstalker hat and the curved pipe, they're never mentioned in Conan Doyle's stories, but were later additions by, well, respectively, illustrator Sidney Paget, and actor William Gillette. Combine those names. There we go. Sidney Paget, actor William Gillette, respectively, right? So the hat is the first thing new thing drawn on a likeness of Sherlock Holmes. And then William Gillette, it's said that he liked the curved pipe because if he had a more straight pipe, it was harder for him to deliver his lines, and it was easier with the curved pipe because it allowed him to open his mouth more. These are the choices that actors are making that stay with the character. Also, William Gillette. Iconic. Yeah, William Gillette is also frequently credited as the one who probably said, "Elementary, my dear Watson."
Dude, I was waiting for you to say that. That's not in the original ever at all. Yeah. And it got added later, but they add it to every iteration after that because it does work. And he probably just forgot to write it down. Let's be honest with each other.
He meant it in his heart. That's really what he did. I think it started as "Elementary, my dear fellow," but then it became Watson. And then it was used henceforth in everything. Sherlock Holmes, in addition to his placement as the most portrayed human literary figure in TV and film history, there you go, he's also been the inspiration for almost every detective since, particularly the archetype of like the brilliant but flawed, flawed protagonist.
So you mean like any like daytime TV show is what you're talking about?
He's brilliant, but he's flawed. So we have House. Remember Hugh Laurie's character, Dr. House?
I remember House. I loved House.
Yeah. Adrian Monk from Monk.
Yep.
That's a good one. Gil Grissom from GSI.
I thought it was...
That was more my day. Gil Grissom.
I thought it was just CSI.
CSI? What did I say?
GSI.
CSI, sorry.
CSI. That's what I thought.
Definitely,
I was like,
for sure, CSI. Sorry.
Yeah,
was I looking at the double G's and I got myself like discombobulated?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't watch
one.
CSI as much. I definitely watched House. I definitely watched Monk. I'm trying to think. I watched Psych, but that's not really... No, actually, Psych is a big one because he's so observant. Psych is a good one to pick, and he's definitely flawed because he's arrogant as fuck too. He's literally like a Southern California Sherlock Holmes with Gus, dude.
I love those two so much. Psych is a perfect example. Yes.
It's a really good updated Sherlock Holmes example. I didn't watch CSI as much. I remember our parents had it on a lot.
I liked watching it with them.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's Gil Grissom for CSI for sure. Yeah. William, is it Peterson or Patterson?
Patterson? The mystery writer or whatever?
Oh, no, not James Patterson.
Oh, okay.
William Peterson, I think, is the actor's name.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry. I'll not speak on what I don't know.
Okay. No, you're good. Do you know Agatha Christie?
Oh, yeah.
See that segue there?
Gosh, yeah.
Her famous detective. Oh, because I always want to say it with the accent because I always listen to it. Hercule Poirot. It looks like Hercule Poirot.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know who that is? He's had a whole series of television stuff too.
I remember having read her.
Okay.
But I don't know that I could tell you details. I might have been
Hercule Poirot. Well, that's the role of Kenneth Branagh in all those like new Miss Agatha Christie movies, like Murder on the Orient Express and
Venice
or
that's
right.
Like that. Maybe that's where it was that I was exposed to that. Yeah,
to fill the Nile, Death on the Nile. Yeah. A really cool thing about Sherlock Holmes also is that his method and his different discoveries often anticipated real-world forensic science. Yeah, so like just as when we meet him in a study in Scarlet, he's had this eureka moment of like, oh my gosh, I know how to test stains to see if they're blood stains. Now if someone's like murdered somebody, justice will actually be served, and we're not going to go, oh, that's mud, or we don't know if it's mud or blood or anything like that. Now we can test it. Yeah. So things like that, fingerprinting, ballistics, and document analysis, these are all things that Sherlock Holmes did in the very early days
Yeah.
before they were standard police practice. Mm.
I always thought that was so cool. I love
Hmm.
that inclusion. It made it a lot more real. I think that's why it's so fun is it's so believable.
And as a whole, comment on this, as a whole, Sherlock Holmes really reflects the world in which he's in this time period. We have the late Victorian, early Edwardian era. And that's like second industrial revolution, right? Like society's changing rapidly, literal landscape is changing, science, industry, technology, but that stuff gets just seamlessly folded into the stories too.
Very much so. That whole turn of the century time.
Hmm.
That's why when you said the date, I was like, turn of the century, Sherlock Holmes. Like, that's how I remember it, you know,
Yeah.
like for
Mhm.
its time. It was what would you call it? A time of a lot of innovation. So a lot of
Correct.
those are very noticeable in those works.
Yeah, correct. Despite being written like well, at least and or well over 120 years ago, the story of Sherlock Holmes endures. The character endures. And, we see it again with all our examples of TV and movie of things that we've watched. But people just going back to the original stories, like the original source material. Because no matter if you've read them or not, and you know how the case is going to end and how, you solve the mystery or whatever, the story takes you on an adventure. It's good writing, right? It's good writing. You're on an
It
adventure,
is. Yeah.
not just like getting to the end of the book to see who did the crime thing. There's twists, there's turns. We got cool characters, we got cool settings. We're into it. We're emotionally invested as people were because they love Sherlock Holmes. They still do. We have that emotional investment in it. There still, after all these years, there's a familiarity for readers, and they always feel like when they open that book, they start reading that story, that they themselves are transported, as we were in the beginning, to like a threadbare armchair in front of a cozy fire. It's crackling. We're cozy and warm. Gas lamps, London fog outside. And we can like sink into a good story at 221B Baker Street. Katie, who is your favorite or one of your favorite iterations of Sherlock Holmes?
Hmm.
Who's like your favorite Sherlock Holmes person?
My favorite? Usually I go with a good old Basil.
Mm,
What is
Basil
it,
Rathbone.
Rathbone? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like his. I like the way the Great Mouse Detective in
Oh,
Disney is written off of that specific. Like you can tell he's the Basil Rathbone
uh,
version of Sherlock Holmes,
did
the
Basil
mouse.
Rathbone do his voice?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I think Basil is actually the main character's name as well.
That's what it is. Okay. I was going to say there is like a direct connection somehow
They're a
instead of like just being
Great
based on it.
Mouse Detective. Hold on. Do do do. He does not. Oh, he does. He does his
He does his voice?
voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't he play him though too?
Yes. No,
Like
he does
in
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I swear to God, I've seen him play him.
And that was
That's
like
funny.
1923, I think,
Oh
roughly
wow.
around that
So
sort of time
this
period. So he
movie is
was quite old.
1986.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he would have been very old.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. Yeah, probably
I
Basil
think it was
Rathbone.
1923
Yeah. I
or
like
nine.
Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job. Obviously that one is very, very popular.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good actor. He
Yeah.
nailed the part, and I guess his mom, when he called and told her that he got the part, she's like, "You don't have the nose for it." Because he has a very specific side profile that is
Yeah.
spoken about in the books. The Do you remember the Robert Downey Jr. one?
Oh,
Do you
yeah, I
remember
sure
those
do.
movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wild. That one's
I like,
pretty good.
yeah, I like those because like I also often, not always, but often like Guy Ritchie movies.
Okay,
And
sure.
so when RDJ is, as Sherlock Holmes has like those moments where it slows down, very Guy Ritchie sort of thing, and he
I
like
like that.
analyzes everything really fast, and then he does it
Yep.
in speed, like when he's beating up that guy in the
Yes,
beginning.
that part is cool.
That's kind of fun. But
Yeah.
I think for the most part, people kind of get. I know, of course, there's arguments about this. So hey, put it down in the comment section, you guys. Like,
Yeah.
who's your Sherlock Holmes? Who's your Watson? Because some people, for the most part, will be like, yeah, this person generally gets it right. This person does this right, but not that. Or I hated this person's performance. Reddit. I was just trying to find one thing real quick, and I found myself in a Reddit rabbit hole in like an argument of people being like, what's the best one,
Oh,
or who
that happened.
represents, who represents them best, and
Was Basil the
everything.
most popular?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
know. I'm trying to think.
I thought he was the most true to the source material, in my opinion. But what
Yeah.
I like about the other actors is that it is their own version of that source material. Like I do like the interpretation, obviously. But
Yeah. I like Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes. Again, he's a great actor, full stop in the first place. But the way he's just kind of flat and kind of cold and just like,
yeah, he
just
gets
intelligent, it's
Yeah.
just his thing. He's just, I'm logical and intelligent. One of the articles I read talked about some of the different ways that actors have done this. So you can either agree or disagree. I'm just passing along what this article said. So I turn the table over to you. But they said like Basil Rathbone gave like a really iconic, like that's the one that when people look back at older
Right.
Sherlocks, they're like, it's Basil Rathbone. But it was like a
Mhm.
more camp or kind of like upbeat Sherlock Holmes versus like more modern iterations that bring out like the jerk sort of aspect of him.
I like him more dark and brooding, definitely.
Okay.
I definitely think that's a more correct way to go with him. I definitely agree with that he has a touch of the tism, but then also like I think those brilliant minds sometimes just don't have time to slow down almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like they're waiting for everybody else to catch up to where they're at, and that's really
Mhm.
frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
come on, let's go.
Definitely. And I know how that is. Sorry, that's like sounded like let me give you an example. Like more like when it comes to like dinos, I get so excited. I like blurt it all out at once and I'm like, no, I just need to calm down. Like people don't know this information yet. Calm down. And I find that I do that when I get excited. I'm like, you're not talking fast enough. I'm going to talk for you because I know what you're going to say. I do that specifically. That's more of a ADHD thing, I think. But so by no means am I like brilliant that I'm like, oh, I don't have time for you to finish your sentence. Like, no, I'm like, I know what you're going to say and I'm going to say it faster. Calm down.
Let me just say it
No
first.
more caffeine for you. I like the more dark and brooding of the character because I find that the more intelligent you are, the more you notice in this world about kind of how it's set up and like how unfair the setup is. And when you get like when you're that self-aware and you have that level of awareness and intelligence, I think it makes you very depressed. So I would picture him as because at the end of the day, even though he comes across as cold, he wouldn't be doing these helpful things if he didn't care. So I think anyone that has any sort of empathy, like, you are going to get depressed. It's like us when we read too much of the news. So I think a darker Sherlock Holmes, like that's my only thing is like the upbeat stuff. Like I think that's not that true to the source material. But I do think Basil Rathbone was probably who Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was picturing when he wrote about him. Does that make sense?
That sort of type, yeah.
Yeah.
It also makes the drug addiction make a lot of sense too.
The depression,
that's how he gets out of the real world, and Watson's his only friend and all that, so
doesn't that like almost just work together?
Yeah.
That's how I've always pictured him. That's how I've always chosen to like, I don't mean it like a weird, but like consume that material. Like that's how I've always processed it.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier too, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had a really interesting kind of like compartmentalized bits of his life. In his later years, he really, and we talked about this before when we talked about spiritualism in, I think it was part 2 of the Divination episode, but we talk a little bit about spiritualism and how that came to be in the United States, well, in the world, but in the United States and in Britain. And he got into that. So like post-Civil War and
I had forgotten about that.
and post-World War I, his son died, I think it was in 1918. And like a lot of people in general, when they lost a loved one.
Did he die at war? No.
I don't know. I didn't write it down because it's something I'm going to talk about more in depth, but I know his son passes away.
Then we'll not go into it then.
Yeah.
I will be surprised. I don't want want to ruin
okay.
it for myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about this and like a couple of other things, and like I think a Halloween episode will be good. But soon, folks, soon. But
Yeah,
Sir
definitely.
Arthur Conan Doyle did get involved with spiritualism after his son passed
Interesting.
away,
I did
which
not know that.
became popular in the United States post Civil War,
Very.
and then
Yeah.
came back again after World War One. But then for Europe after World War One, especially, you got people that are losing loved ones who've gone through trauma and grief, and that was what a lot of people turned to. You mean I could talk to my loved ones on the other side? You mean I can communicate with them
Yeah.
and maybe see them again? Are you kidding me? Hell yeah, I'm getting into this. So, um, I think Doyle's, well, partially his son, but also he saw a picture of fairies. They were cutouts of fairies that this girl set up and then like posed with, passing it off as real fairies in this picture. And he was like, hell yeah, fairies are real. Now you can
Oh
think fairies are
my.
real or not, but this picture is certainly fake. And he was like,
Yeah.
yes, I
That's
believe what
really
I'm seeing.
interesting. I mean, he crafted one of the most logical minds of our age, and then he did what? I was like, hold
Yeah.
on. That is so
Sherlock,
shocking to me.
yeah, because Sherlock Holmes is like famously like not spiritual at all, like no
Nope.
supernatural, no
He
nothing.
doesn't
He's like,
believe in it.
ghosts have no place here. We don't do that.
Mm-mm. And
And later
religion
in,
certainly doesn't.
no,
Yeah, he's not
and
about any of it.
and Doyle's life, it takes like this hard turn. Not that he was his
Wow.
own character, but that's who he wrote,
N-
and he takes
no,
that
but
turn into spiritualism.
yeah, it surprises me that a mind that can think that logically would be that into the fantastical. But then I guess that's probably how the story got written, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But yeah, I don't know, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. It makes me wonder if now remember how I said Sherlock seems extremely depressed? It makes me wonder like if he himself was also very depressed and he sounds like he's grieving really heavily to take that hard turn like that. You never know.
Well, so his son died World War One, and his last novel was in 1917. So, or sorry,
Okay.
not after World War. Like, so his son died in 1918. His last detective,
It was
Sherlock
1970.
Holmes, was
Yeah, but
1917.
I mean,
So
he
it's
could
just
still be
before
a
that.
depressed individual, though. Is kind
Sure,
of what I
yeah,
meant. Like the trait could still be there,
sure,
and then that loss, then taking that hard left turn into the spiritualism, is what I was
yeah.
saying. Because it seems like such a departure, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know what. I don't want to speculate. Also, like too much on his mental health in
Yeah,
the
I mean
earlier
that's
part of
just
his
purely
years.
my
But
opinion, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, but certainly after after the loss of a child, like he's grieving that spiritualism's happened at the same time. More and more people are getting into it. Him and his wife, well, his second wife, they were into it hard. They were like, hell yeah, seances, fairies, ghosts, all of it. We are full steam ahead. And they meet. I'll say this for the episode later, but they do meet another very interesting person from history that they become friends, well, frenemies, sort of, with
Okay.
a man who's like, oh, I know illusions and showmanship and spiritualism is a fucking hoax. His name rhymes with Mary Schmoobini.
Whoa, I nailed it. I
Yeah.
totally was gonna when you said I know about illusions and stuff, and I was like, oh, I bet I only know one person and I was my look like that, like staring, I was like, dude, what time did he live? What time did he live? What time did he live? And I was like, no, is it the same? I
Exactly
was
that
like,
same time.
no way. Harry
Yeah.
Houdini, dude?
Hottie Houdini. Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's a really
Interesting.
interesting story. The friendship, the
Dude, I
split,
can't wait to hear
all of it,
this.
the drama.
I will
So
not spoil this surprise for myself because that's going to be some hot tea.
it's some hot tea. And also Houdini died on Halloween.
He did, yeah.
So,
Mhm.
dun dun dun, lightning flash, thunder.
Mhm.
So, folks, yeah, let us know who your favorite Sherlock Holmes is. Who is your favorite actor or iteration, or maybe even like a book that you've read and you're like, this is my
Yeah.
favorite
Also,
author's
I would love to know
version
what
of.
everyone's favorite story was. What got
Yeah.
you into it? I didn't know you and I were both Hound of the Baskervilles. That's pretty
Hmm.
cool. I didn't know
That was
that.
my entrance. That was my entry into Holmes, the Holmesian world.
It's a fun place.
It's a fun place indeed. So let us know. And also make sure that you're following us over on the social media.
Right.
High Tales of History Pod on TikTok. So everything's linked down in the show notes. If you want to be a best bud and keep our lava lamps on.
Lava lamps, man.
And get some extra content, some of the extra chit-chat, backstage stuff, early access to the episodes, movie nights on the couch. It's a great time over there.
It is a great time.
It's a great time. We have so much fun. Come have fun with us. Look, we've got cats.
Cats.
We've got cats, y'all. We got snacks and cats.
Snacks and cats. No,
snacks, cats,
that's it.
And content.
Especially cats who step on your headphones.
Yep. Katie's bringing it back with episode 120 in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, get money, get high, give love, and
read a classic work of literature, like sometime soon, like Frankenstein, Sherlock Holmes. I mean, any Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Dude, pick up some classic literature. Do it for yourself. It's spring. It's a time of renewal. Set intention. Let us enter le Renaissance. I'm just hoping. I'm putting good vibes out into the world because we need it.
We do need it. Take care of yourselves, folks. Bye.
Bye.